Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
I once knew a guy who wanted to get back in shape, and I'm talking about a marathon, not a triathlon. He didn't talk about body fat percentages or macros or VO2 max, anything like that. His goal was what I would call embarrassingly small. He told himself every day, I'm just going to put my shoes on and walk around the block. That's it. One block, rain or shine, busy day, bad mood, shoes on, he'd loop around the block. Now, what would happen was somewhat predictable in hindsight. Some days it was just one block. Some days he would do two. Occasionally it turned into a mile. Weather was nice. He's feeling good. He went out and did it. But here's the key. The habit never broke. He just continued with that habit. The goal was never heavy enough to intimidate him. Networking works much the same way. People like to set these impressive goals. And I get these questions all the time in networking. They're just looking, they want to make it rocket science, what's the magic? I need leads. I need referral partners. I need to grow my brand. And it's like they're trying to run a marathon, and that's not really what they need. Today I have on the program with me Antonio Romanelli. He's the owner of the Romanelli Group. I have known Antonio for a long time. Antonio played soccer with my kids through high school and college, and he's a realtor. He started his career in as a banker, Huntington Bank, as a finance guy, and he's part of AmSpirit. Not everybody who gets on here is part of AmSpirit. He's part of AmSpirit, and he was sharing some things with me at a chapter, and it's like, man, I got to get you on because you are the equivalent of this one block a day. Not everything he does. But a lot of the things that they do at the Romanelli Group are just so simple, so duplicatable. I don't know, simple is best. So, Antonio, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy to share whatever people think is valuable.
Well, no, I do think the simple stuff is valuable. I don't want to steal your thunder. I mean, I guess you guys do a lot of things at the Romanelli Group. But the one thing you did share with me, I'll let you talk about that and maybe the origin of it, and we can just kind of go from there.
Yeah, sure. So on our team currently, it's my sister and I who are the co-owners. And we have 3 agents on the team, so 5 agents in total. And one of the biggest things as the team owner is obviously how to provide value to our team members all the time. My sister and I, this year, just us will sell around 89 to 90 homes, 108 as a team. So it's always, what do you guys do that makes you good at what you do, and how do we be like that? And one of the things that as we've grown this team is, hey, there has to be standards to be on this team, right? It's just like anything. And we're sports people too. So setting standards and making sure people follow it was easy. But one of the things that Christina and I, my sister, always come back to is we just talk to a lot of people. And to your analogy, it's just walk around the block. Like, it doesn't have to be about real estate. I don't have to. For example, I'm really bad at cold calling. I'm just not good at it. If you gave me the phone, I had to dial 1,000 names. I probably wouldn't land a single one.
Yeah.
So, there's a little bit of what works for you. And for us, it's just talking to people and just creating a relationship out of anything, whether it's, where they're from or what they enjoy to do, whatever. So we wanted to dumb it down. Not only for us, my sister and I, we still do it, but also for the agents on our team is, what do we have to do every week, to sell homes? And I always joke, you don't sell a home to a robot. You have to sell a home to a human being. So, and to me, what are my odds? What's the most likely scenario? However you want to define that. But how do I sell a home to a person? I have to meet them. That's always I have to know who they are. I can't sell a house to somebody I've never met before. So dumbing it down to just talking to people. And we calculate it now. We have a CRM system where we can see how much we talk to people. But one of the things we set for the team is you have to talk to 20 people a week. And the follow-up questions are awesome. It's like, well, who? And what do I have to talk about? And how do I? I'm like, I don't care. I literally
Yeah.
don't care who you talk to. I mean, sure, there might be some people that talking to would be a waste of time in order to buy a home, but that's not the point. It's not about who the 20 are. Because like anything in sales, and I actually was thinking about this on the way home in preparation for this call, like there's advertisements on the radio all the time. And the point is for that person, that business, that company to be top of mind when you need something. Eco Plumbers was the one that was on the
Yeah.
radio. And
I saw a truck this morning. Yeah, they do.
yeah, and it's on the radio because if I come home, my hot water tank's out, eco is going to be the first thing that I think about because that's who's on, that's who I heard. And that's what we are trying to do. So if you talk to 20 people every week, real estate might not come up 19 times. One person might be like, "Oh yeah, didn't you join a new team? Aren't you? Yeah, yeah, I did. I joined the Rally group, blah blah blah." But you want to be top of mind. So that's, I guess, really kind of like reason one for why we try to talk to so many people. Reason two is you also want to feel very approachable because real estate, at least in our experience, it's very personal. It's very emotional. It's very personal. People have to feel comfortable with you. I'm not selling them a product and they use it for 6 months and then it breaks or, whatever. I'm selling an experience, how to buy a home, how to do it the right way, how to make sure you don't make a big mistake, all those things. So people have to trust you. And to me, talking to them routinely about whatever, about their family, about their son's soccer game or, the little league, you just have to get to know them and they have to get to know you. But again, I don't look to your point. I mean, I don't go there yet. It's just talk to these people. Just, hey, I saw you post it. Social media is amazing anymore. You don't even have to talk to people to keep up with them. I
Yeah.
mean, really, you get to watch their life unfold on social media. So, how do you use little Johnny's birthday as a way to talk to your someone that that you used to bike with or something? So that's kind of like as simple as we break it down is just talk to 20 people a week. And we do it in other ways. Like for example, last week we do these things called micro events, and this actually might be perfect for what we're talking about. Instead of hosting an event for 200 people and realistically only getting to talk to 40 of them,
Yeah.
like with a good conversation, we do micro events where we will invite. So for me, it was me, my wife, and three other couples. So I invited three other couples that I had sold a house to dinner, just as a, hey, thanks for using me this year. Appreciate and trust in me. This isn't about real estate. I just want to treat you guys to a really nice dinner, at a restaurant that I like and blah, blah, blah. So we did that last week. And I never mentioned real estate. I never mentioned work. My phone was away the whole time. And, after an hour and a half, three people start talking about, oh, I know somebody who, they have to buy a house and we told them about you, but, I'll text them after this and I'll remind them about you. And I'm like, we just went to dinner.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that, it's not so I'm not a rocket science guy. I don't want to know rocket science. I don't want to know all the hardest things about, what we do. But at the end of the day, I boil it down to you got to sell a house to a person. That person has to know you, trust you, like you, all of that. And it just starts with talking to people. So I know I rambled a little bit there, but
No, that's
that
good.
that 20 people a day is or I'm sorry, a week is just a really good way to make sure you're doing it. And in real estate, our business seems to kind of be cyclical, right? You sell three or four houses in January, you sell zero in February, you sell 10 in March. It's very up and down because you start to like service the deals, you service the inspections, you service the appraisals. Um, but if you're constantly talking to 20 people a week, right, the idea is we're starting to smooth out, what we do. And because we are commission based. So, selling zero houses in a month means well, in fact, you lost money. You didn't just make $0, you lost money.
Yeah.
So it's to help with that too, a little bit.
Now, when you and Christina, your sister Christina, you guys have come upon this naturally. So you just do it. And this is, I guess, my interpretation of what you're sharing. You're trying to explain a process to your new agents that you guys probably really didn't think about on the front end, but just, hey, this is, somehow this works and this is what we do. And, we're going to set you on this path. To me, well, I guess, is it Is it so simple that people get tripped up with it, your team? Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, all the time. I mean, your example is exactly it. Like, I have to go I have to sign up for a triathlon in order to prepare for it. No, you
right?
don't. You can start preparing tomorrow morning for the triathlon, whether
Yeah,
so everybody trips up. I mean, everybody says, well, what do you say to these people? And I'm like, what do you talk about to your neighbors when you walk outside to take the trash can out? Anything, literally
yeah,
anything. Hey, man, I like your shoes. Like, and I'm not, you know us personally, so it helps. But I don't like my sister and I aren't really like salespeople. I'm not sitting there like lying to people, coming up with these conversations that I don't care about. Like it's not that. There is something that you have in common with all these people that you can talk about. To be honest with you, most people just second guess it the entire time and they never ever reach out. I mean, that's what it is. But to your point, my sister and I did not know 5 years ago that talking to 20 people a week was what worked, right? Like we didn't know, but we are I mean, a little bit to your point, like it's just normal for us. Constantly
yeah,
just talk to people. Just talk to people. That's what we've done our whole life. It's what our parents do. Just talk to people. Um, Also, when you talk to people, you learn about what their wants and needs are. You might find out their dream is to be a homeowner, So it took us a while to realize that. It actually really took, my sister has a business coach that was like, you need to sit down and just write down what you do every day. Like when you're doing something, just write it down. Because we were trying to come up with these systems. And one thing that just kept coming up was just like I texting my friends, texting, past clients. And she's like, what are you talking about? And we were like, well, I don't know, nothing specific, like nothing. It's
yeah,
almost like Seinfeld. We're having a show, but it's not about anything. We're just talking. And that's kind of where it was born. It's like, okay, if you're constantly talking to people, something comes of it. And I mean, transparently, it's just like a weight loss thing. After the first 5 weeks, nobody talks about real estate or nobody says anything, you just want to stop. Like, hey, this doesn't work. Like, no,
right,
it does. When you talk to the same person, because inevitably you start to talk to the same people, right? You don't know 20 new people every single week.
right.
So you start to repeat who you're talking to, and then they start to get more comfortable with you. And then they'll say, you know what? Hey, I have owned a house and we bought it 3 years ago, and my rate's 7.5%. Do you think I should refinance? And all
Yeah,
of a sudden you're like, what? Like that. All of a sudden, now you can't. We're realtors. We don't make money when anybody refinances a home. But now all of a sudden you're like, okay, they're thinking about me. They thought about their
yeah,
house. They thought about me.
yeah.
Um, Connect them with a good mortgage lender, whatever, take it from there. But yeah, it's very easy for people to over analyze, almost like analysis paralysis, and they don't want to do
Yeah.
it. But it's that easy, for
Well,
better or for worse.
yeah, your example of eco plumber is a good one.
Mhm.
Because you I see the trucks. Um, I hear the ads, but I don't. Oh, I just need to call a plumber, right? I mean, you don't until you have a need. But when you're talking to people on again, off again, they may not be thinking about a house, but then all of a sudden, at some point, they're like, "Yeah, mom and dad are moving to town. We need to
Yeah,
hook them
and
up
and
with
the average
somebody."
person, I think the stat is the average person moves every 7 years.
Yeah,
So I mean, I always say, I joke, I wish I sold a product because I could sell it to the same person 100 times,
yeah,
but it's just not what we do. I mean, I sell something to somebody that could live in for 35 years, and I'll
yeah.
never get a repeat, client out of that. But like you said, I mean, constantly talking to people, you'll find out that yeah, their son moved away to Chicago after school, and now he's engaged and wants to come home. And, that's how I am ready for those types of things.
Well, my son is the perfect example. Lucas, who's down in Miami, Florida, and you played soccer with, and
Yep.
have remained on his radar while you're friends with Chase. All that stuff helps. And
Yep.
now, are you ever intentional or calculating with like at the beginning of the week, I need to reach out to these people, or maybe you're beyond that now?
No, no, not really. I mean, for me, so at one point, like, you want to just have a conversation. On the other hand, I also don't want to waste anybody's time, right? I don't want to
Yeah,
feel like, oh, he's just texting me just to, anything that I see that I can use. I'm also a little bit more intentional. So, like, there's an agent on our team that will sit down and talk, and will like use 2.5 hours to reach out to 20 people, right then and there, because that's her personality and it's easier to time block and that's no problem. Ours, when I say ours, my sister and I, it's so like natural to us at this point that
Yeah.
I mean, today, for example, I saw one of my old friends posted that his sister is pregnant. And I just texted him, I was like, hey, congrats, uncle. That's awesome. Like I just had a kid 13 months ago. It's crazy. Now he's not going to be the dad, but I'm like, it's awesome. Let me know if you need anything. It's really exciting.
Yeah.
And like, it's just started to come so natural that by the end of the week, it's almost, I look back and go, I talked to 30 people.
Yeah.
If I just reach out about the thing that I see or the thing that I hear, I mean, I think you do a good job with this. If I am somewhere and or if you're out somewhere and someone mentions me or to sales or something, you connect it back to me. And that's what we try to do too, right? If I hear, oh, so and so's looking for a job at AEP, well, I know somebody who works at AEP. I'll just message them.
Yeah.
It's not even for my benefit. Hey, I met somebody that wants to work at AEP. I know you still work there. Do you know anybody in this department? And all of a sudden it's like, boom, you have a 40-minute conversation about something that doesn't even have to do with real estate or me or anything.
Right.
Um, but my phone, my name popped up, was on their phone screen for 40 minutes. And that's truly at the end of the day, what the whole 20 people a week is about.
Yeah. Um, any memorable wins, or is it just so?
Hmm. Um, yeah, yes. There's probably one of my, yeah, probably one of my biggest sales, to be honest. This sounds very cliche, but I was talking to Um, actually my dad's friend would probably be the definition of who they are. I mean, I've known of them, but the relationship is my dad's friend.
Right.
And I will always reach out and talk to him. He's a nice guy, played golf together a couple times, nothing crazy. And yeah, we talked, and one day he's like, yeah, we'll move at some point. He's like, we really want to build a house, but building a custom home just isn't for us. And, so many decisions. And I'm like, yeah, it's really not for everybody, just yeah. And he's like, well, if a house comes up in this neighborhood, if it ever comes up in this neighborhood, call me. And I was like, okay. And now, and not to be, this is not tooting my own horn, but a lot of people would just forget about that. Like a lot of
Yeah.
people would just, oh yeah, he said, and if a house doesn't come up in a month, it's gone. And so I had it written down and I'll never forget the house came up in that neighborhood. I was at the memorial tournament at Muirfield. I was walking around the golf course, checking my phone, of course. And the house came up. I sent it to him. He called me. He's like, hey, can you show me that in like an hour? And I was like, oh, I'm at Memorial. In my head, I'm like, oh, I'm here with my
Yeah.
wife. I'm like, oh. And I was like, yeah, I can show it to you in an hour. And I told my wife, I said, you can come with me or you can Uber home. I don't care, but I'm going to go do this. And it turned out to be one of my biggest sales in the last 2 years. So,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a per se because I reach out to 20 people every week, but I will definitely say I would have never sold that house. I mean,
Yeah.
it's easy. It's hard to say because I reached out every once in a while, I sold it. But it's really easy to say I would have never sold that home if I wasn't reaching out,
Right.
trying to be intentional about talking to people. Because at the end of the day, too, every person knows 6 or 7 realtors. I mean, it's just the truth of, well, maybe not every person. Most people know 5 or 6 realtors. So,
Well,
being that person that's,
I hear that all the time, and I guess my pushback on it when I hear it is yeah, everybody know. Well, I certainly know a lot, but everybody knows of 6 or 7 realtors. They don't know realtors, you
yep, I
know.
agree.
And I
Hmm.
think what you're doing is really, hey, you're going to know me, and you know
Hmm.
what, I'm going to service you in ways beyond real estate. Um, and some of these things are going to work out, and some of them aren't. I'm sure sometimes it doesn't work out. You're looking online, and Joe Smith bought a house from whoever
Yep.
who, you know,
Yeah,
that
I
hurts.
think yeah. Those are not. That makes me question, should I reach out to 25 people a week when I
Yeah,
see that I'm missing
yeah.
people? But oh, one just came up that you. Oh, now I forget it. That's funny how that works.
Okay, yeah, that's okay.
Um,
We were
yeah,
talking about dementia before we record, so
I
there we go.
that's fair. That is fair. Yeah, I mean it's something that is so small that if you've read the book, The Slight Edge is what it's
Hmm.
called. It's something that the whole book is about, doing the little things and doing the little things. And I think the 20 people a week is a little thing, right? Um, it talks about how like everybody wants to quit, but the variable that everybody forgets about is time.
Yeah.
You talk to 20 people a week. Over a year, you've talked to so many people. The odds of somebody having a real estate need or needing anything from you is high. Um, Especially compared to talking to nobody,
Yeah.
obviously. But so that's the one thing it talks about is like, and it talks about my generation a little bit. That's like you just don't like want you don't want the time to be a variable, and like you don't want it. That's an important part. You can't just talk to
Yeah.
20 people and 20 people buy a house. So that was an interesting part that I kind of took from it. But I remembered you were talking about, or you asked me, do I reach out like on Monday or at certain times or whatever? I try to when I reach out to past clients, so people that we've already worked with. I want to give them value, right? So other people, I literally will talk about anything, coffee, whatever. For past clients, I'm like, well, I don't want to text, I don't want to talk to my clients all the time about nothing, right? So I've done something where I have 12 vendors. So, roofer, window washer, whatever they are, that are willing to give a discount code for our clients. So, that right there, I have 100 and I don't more than that, more than 100 past clients. I can talk to 100 people every month with, hey, my house cleaner is willing to give 20% off if you use, my name because they want to drum up some business. And that is so valuable because you're actually giving them something that they
Yeah.
can, oh yeah, cool. I've been meaning to get the house cleaned. Yeah, I'll do it for 20% off.
Yeah.
I just did one last month with a radon mitigation installer and air duct cleaner. It made a little graphic, 10% off if you use the name Romanelli, send it to everybody I've ever sold a house to. And that's just another way that, they see my name and hopefully there's a little value there. So,
Yeah. Well, I guess for people who will adopt something like this, you're the three people on your team that are newer and account for what 20, 30
mhm.
um, deals a year. There's got to be a multiplier effect. I
Oh
always
yeah.
talk about, you help a first time home buyer, they're going to become a second time home buyer.
Hmm.
Unless you really screwed it up, who are they going to use, right? They're coming
Sure.
back to you. The kids grow
Yeah.
up. Who are the kids going to use? The kids are probably going to come to you.
Yep.
Um, and so
Yeah. I
that's where the
mean,
multiplier effect comes in.
there certainly is. I think, in our business, this isn't like a cop out, but sometimes it's very difficult to measure a lot of, what do we do and how does it actually work for us? But I mean, I think time, so I mean, my sister's a great example. She'll be in the business 10 years. She'll close, I think, 45 transactions this year, maybe a little bit more, just under 50. I mean, that's 5 houses a month. It's a lot of houses. I
Yeah,
mean, four and a half houses a month, whatever that's a lot of people too. That's just a lot. I mean, it's a lot of people that know her, like her, trust her, call her.
yeah,
And a lot of the younger agents on the team are like, oh, I want to be like that. I don't know how. I don't know how. I'm like, well, you have to do well by everybody you've worked with for
yeah,
the last 10 years. Um, and we have an agent that just joined us. I think she technically joined like 3-ish months ago, maybe 4 months ago. Was on a team before, hadn't sold a home. She has three in contract right now. And before this, at 1 o'clock, we did what's called a lead gen hour. So we sit down for an hour all together in the same conference room, and we just reach out to people about it again, like we talk about anything. So the 20 people a week is easy when we do the lead gen hour every couple weeks because you have an hour. But I think about it to her, I'm like, I don't know if it's because you talk to 20 people every week, but I certainly know if you didn't talk to 20 people every week, you wouldn't
yeah,
have three homes in contract right now.
yeah,
And like you said, I mean, the momentum, it's very real in our business. Once you build on the momentum, you can keep rolling for a good amount of time.
yeah. Well, I mean, you've mentioned it's time, right? It's
Mhm.
just being willing to stick with it. And I think that's true in any business. I mean, there have been times where I've wanted to walk away from what I'm doing.
Mhm.
But it's like, okay, what else am I going to do? Number one. And number two, you've got to invest time wherever you go. So,
Mhm.
if you're happy with what you're doing, if you're happy in real estate, then yeah, just zero in on this little task, this little put your shoes on, walk around the block activity.
Yeah,
And
yeah. And
just,
I think that's why people get and not to be I think that's why a lot of people get into real estate. They don't think that there is a lot of time. They don't think there's a lot of ramp up.
yeah,
They think I know 500 people, once I get my license, I'm like, well, okay, of the 500 people, 300 own a home.
yeah,
And the other 200, 100 of them rent and let's say 50 are physically unable to afford to buy. So I'm like, yeah, a lot of people, but it doesn't mean that they're going to buy or sell a home with you.
Yeah.
And I'm not making people get out of the business in every industry, but I think the time variable is why so many people get out of our business,
Yeah.
because they just can't put in, not that they're not hard workers, that's not it. They just can't really understand that like this might take 5 years to get a good, trustworthy, sphere that knows you, likes you,
Yeah.
trusts you, and gives your name out. It doesn't just happen overnight. So,
Yeah. Well, it's discipline. I mean, that's why people quit the gym on January,
mhm.
whatever.
Yep, yep.
So it just they don't want to put the time in. And I've always said or often said that businesses seldom fail. People just decide they're going to move on to something else. That's really,
Hmm.
I've seldom run into it. We totally ran out of cash. We had nothing, right? It's like, no, they're just moving on to something else. Just
Yep.
to quickly back up, you said that Christine is doing about 4.5 deals a month on average. Um, just to give the listener some context, people might be, oh, 4.5, that's no big deal. No, that's average is probably less than one, if I'm
Yeah, the average agent, I think technically the average realtor sells less than a house or less than two houses a year, I think is like the
Yeah,
average realtor. But I always say 108 deals is a closing every other business day,
yeah,
basically. So, I
yeah,
mean, imagine, and my punchline for people all the time is when you have a leak, do you call a part-time plumber or a full-time plumber? Do you
yeah,
call somebody that is really good at it, or do you call somebody that like might be able to fix it?
right.
And that's not a hit on part-time. That's not the point. But once people know, oh, they've seen probably every problem. I mean, knock on wood, we've seen, I think, almost every problem you could possibly see. Like we know how to fix it now too,
Yeah,
and that's the biggest transaction in your life. You got to be able to be ready. So for her, I think, yeah, 4.5 doesn't sound like that number nominally doesn't sound like a lot, but that's helping 4 inspections a month, 4 appraisals a month, all those things.
yeah,
Um, so it's a lot of work. It keeps us busy, that's for
yeah.
sure.
Well, 99% of the realtors out there are envious of that, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's like, oh, geez, I wish I were that person.
Yeah.
20 people a week. Let's shift gears here quickly as we're closing. How can people help you? How can they get a hold of you? Obviously, need a home, got a home, want to sell a home, Antonio
Yep.
Romanelli. But other things you're doing here.
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, like we genuinely love what we do. So, it's more to me, it truly it's more about buying and selling a home. When I get people send me pictures of their Christmas card of them in their home, the seventh year with 2 kids, that
Yeah,
means so much to us. It gave me goosebumps just saying it. It's just so cool to help people through something like this. So for me, we come from a big Italian family. We think family and friends are the most important things in our lives. We truly do take care of people. And I don't want to say better than others, but we take every single person as if it's our mom buying and selling a home.
yeah,
So, I think a lot of times people don't get referrals in the real estate business is because they're not trusted with that specific moment. They're not a trustworthy person. They're just not trusted for that job at that time. So anybody that's looking to buy or sell a home, that it's an intricate situation, there's a lot of family members involved, things like that. We do, we handle those pretty well. At the same time, doing a lot of business creates, unique properties, right? You don't just sell the cookie cutter homes in the neighborhood all the time. You sell that, 25-acre horse farm. That's like, how do you sell that? Who's the buyer for something like that? So I would say the intricate things, the things that, people are like, oh, I'll kick it down the road. I don't know the one we were just talking about personally, but my parents are getting older. I don't know what to do. That's a very, very, very delicate situation. And I don't want people to think that we approach that too fast or, oh, as another transaction. We really don't see them like that. I mean, we said the other day, if we will help 108 families this year. Yes, it's
yeah,
108 homes, but you help 108 families. So any of those, I think that's just what means a lot to us is, being trusted to do such a I think a big job for a family. We don't just see it as, oh, okay, cool. They're one of the 100 this year.
yeah,
So that's, I'd say what can help us. At the same token, it's how we can help other people. I mean, we have a lot of vendors, contractors. I helped your son a little bit, with
yeah,
renovating a home. So anytime anybody needs anything, I'm so happy to give, a good electrician's name out, a good plumber's name out, because it helps a homeowner. Someday it'll come back. So.
Yeah. And even if you're out there and you don't know if you can buy a home, one of the things you've shared, hey, somebody just signed a lease. It's a good time to start talking because that lease is going to run out, and buying a home can be a process, can be a long process. And if you find something quickly, you can get out of leases. It works. It does happen.
For sure.
Best way to get a hold of you, A. Romanelli at kw.com. Is that the best way?
It.
All right. I'll get that in the show notes. So,
perfect.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AMSPIRIT.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.